Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the stream. Before I get started, just real quick, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. The information on this channel is provided for education, informational purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind. Please feel free, pause the stream, read through this. That way you know I am not a financial advisor, and this is not advice. It is simply for education purposes only. Chopped up on NASDAQ. Things are ranging. It's the Wild West out there this week, and things are chopping around. You know what? That's okay, because that means that they might be coiling for a larger move. We're coming into the end of a month, and we're going to get into it today. We're going to talk about some stuff. We're going to look for signal days, market structure, 3-day cycle. Same old, same old. Same thing I look for every single week. I am doing this live stream on a Tuesday afternoon instead of tomorrow morning because I have a webinar this week. So I will not be able to do it in the mornings this week. But I will resume my morning times next week. For anybody that is not able to catch the stream right now and you are watching this on Rewind, I'll be there for you next week. All right, so let's take a look. And we're going to start out actually with, not that one. We're going to look at this. Tips and tricks. This is my cheat sheet, if you will. For the opening range initial balance setups coming into a Wednesday. Now I'm going to explain this slide. This live stream might be a little bit longer because I'm going to actually include a little bit of teaching things in there as well. But I think it's worth it. It'll be well worth it if you're here right now with me, or if you're tuning in later. This is going to be a stream that you want to watch. This cheat sheet right here, number 6 and number 7. If there are only 2 drives, this is helping me in describing some things about trend trades and things like that. Number 7, these 2 right here are going to be for Fridays. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday templates. I'm not going to worry about these in this stream today. We're going to focus on 1 through 5, and we're going to talk about them. Stacey Burke always says the market only does 3 things, and he's right, obviously. It's either going to break out trend, break out reverse, and stay inside of a trading range for the entire week, and also within the actual daily templates that show up day in and day out. So looking at like Asia, London, New York, looking at the daily templates, and then looking at the overall weekly templates, we will get the same effect because markets are fractal. Everything happening on a higher time frame is happening far more frequently on a lower time frame, but the behavior remains the same. So, number 1, let's focus on this real quick. Market closed outside of the opening range on a Tuesday. Probability of Wednesday continuation increase significantly unless the breakout fails on a Wednesday. Remember, me being me, I always like to understand both sides of the scenarios. So, what is this even saying? Let's look at this like this. Monday gives you the opening range for the week. So, this is Monday's range. Now we're coming into today, and we're going to be looking at today's different ways that Monday, Tuesday has closed the market. Let's say that Tuesday comes in. I'll draw a little T here to designate. What if Tuesday closed as an opening range breakout? They have closed on the outside of the opening range on that Tuesday. What do I look for on the following day? Well, let's just say that this is Tuesday's high, and it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to throw down Tuesday's low somewhere over here, and this would be the high of Monday. So they've closed as an opening range breakout on Tuesday. I'm going to highlight this point right here unless the breakout fails on a Wednesday. If you come into Wednesday, and let's say that I come to the screen and Asia has created the opening range, and then maybe London has broke down and made a lower low back down on the inside, and then New York, you're like, okay, time to go long, and just kidding, and it does that. And you're like, well, Cam said if it closed on the outside of the opening range on a Tuesday. Not necessarily, all right? There are certain things when I come into Wednesday looking at the daily template. From one of my previous videos, I talked about framing the day, looking at Asia and London. There's a certain way that you can frame the day coming into Wednesday to confirm, or at least help you to confirm, that this template is a good template. So if you're trying to sift through the pairs, let's say that this is the high of Tuesday, and then we get an opening range on the day itself. Asia makes a higher high. London starts to pull back, and we're still on top of the opening range. That part's very important to me. We're still on top of the opening range. So we get a little London here, and then New York starts to trade, and it goes vertical in New York. Why do I use this as a template or a guide? Think about what happened in Asia. Asia made a higher high. What happens after I get a higher high? I look for 3 pushes back down. Dump, a consolidation for the pump in New York for a trend trade after an opening range breakout and things like that. That's number 1. Number 2. Oh boy, I'm going to have to delete all this each time. So just give me a second for a little pause. There we go. Number 2. Market closed as a failed breakout on a Tuesday. The probability of reaching the other end of the opening range increases significantly unless the breakout doesn't fail on the following day. So let's do that. You've got a Monday. Monday's created a high and a low. That is the opening range for the week. Then you get Tuesday. And Tuesday attempts to trade outside of Monday's high and then fails and pulls back on the inside. And then, same exact thing. You frame the day. Maybe London, Asia makes a lower low. London starts to pull back. And then you get like a New York trade back down through maybe the 50% of the weekly range. And overall, what I typically look for is the move back down through to the low of the week. The breakout at the high of the week is failed. That's also a day 1, 3-day cycle. Good stuff. And then I look for a reversal back down towards the low of the week. The flip side of this could be kind of like what I just said, right? I'm always looking for both sides of the scenarios. Tuesday breaks out and pulls back down on this inside of the opening range. You're looking for that short trade. Asia makes a higher high. And you're like, okay, what's going on? Well, you got this breakout level. They have popped back up on top of the opening range. This probably was a higher high, so maybe like a break of structure in an uptrending market. Of course, this can go either way. And then you get a London. They start to pull back in London. Oh, goodness, there we go. And then New York becomes the trade back up through the high of the current week. This would have had space to get back up there. And maybe we're actually doing a range expansion of the opening range or the weekly range, okay? So that is covering number 2. Good stuff. As I'm going through these, if you want to start looking through your charts, you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about because it's the same behavior every single week, and it's awesome. This is why I really like this cheat sheet. It really, it'll really help you. Number 3, if Monday's breakout fails, then Tuesday's breakout fails at the other end of the week. So let's say we've got a Monday, and I'm going to draw a Friday high up here, all right? And then Monday tries to go higher. They trade above Friday's high. That breakout fails. Then we come into Tuesday. Now you got Monday's high and Monday's low down here, opening range for the week. And Tuesday attempts to trade lower outside of Monday's low and then fails. You're going to see this quite often where it's like, okay, that's day 1, 3-day cycle. Okay, that's day 1, 3-day cycle. Well, now what do I do? Well, think about it. Peak formation high, peak formation low. Peak formation at the high of the week, peak formation at the low of the week. Number 1, could roll over. This is peak formation high, peak formation low. This could have been a lower low back down for the rollover. And I'm going to frame the day and try and confirm and see which one of those things is going to happen. Other side of that, Asia makes a higher high. London, maybe we start getting a parabolic channel to go vertical back up through the high of the week. All right, so this would be like a dump, consolidation down low, and then a pump back up through the high of the week. That's one thing. You might hear Stacey refer to that as a day 0 kind of setup. You might hear me refer to it as like a heartbeat pattern. And what's cool is number 3 and number 4 kind of go together. If Tuesday hits both sides of the opening range, so I've got a Monday, right? That's Monday's high and low. And then you come into Tuesday and they spike high, they spike low and pull back inside. That's peak formation high, peak formation low at the high and the low of the week. And I can look for the exact same things on Wednesday. I frame the day, they start rolling over, it goes vertical. I frame the day, they make a higher high, they start giving me a parabolic channel and maybe a bit of a curve, and we get a vertical move back up through the high of the week. We've got space to get back up there. Dump, consolidation, and then a pump. Number 5, this is my least favorite, but it also kind of occurs somewhat often, where you have Monday, Tuesday. So this is Monday, and then you get a Tuesday. And you're going to notice that sometimes on Tuesday, they go and they do 3 levels of rise outside of Monday, and they close way up high. The reason I don't really care for this template is because I feel like the separation or the amount of scenarios that are possible is too much. Over the course of the next 3 days, they could pull back. So this would be like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They could do something like this. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They start to pull back on Wednesday. They start to pull back on Thursday. I don't know why I drew a W there. Please feel free to yell at me in the chat. Let's put an F there for Friday. And then Friday, you get that big move back up. And you're like, okay, well, I've been trying to go long for the past 2 days, and that kind of hurts. The next thing that could happen, and the one that I least like, is Wednesday opens up and just does one of these all day long. and just goes sideways, vertical, up and down. Boy, is that frustrating, because you think, hey, it's going to do this or that. You're trying to buy the high and sell the whatever. And it's just not expanding outside of the daily range, and it's very frustrating. Not a fan. And the next thing that could happen is, and I'm going to show you here in a second an example of this, where Wednesday then makes a lower low in Asia. Maybe you had a low over here, and they made a lower low on the day. So Asia, London, and then New York goes vertical back down, and you do get that parabolic reversal back down to that breakout level. You had all that space to get back down, and that usually will turn into the best kind of template whenever you get this number 5. 3 drives outside of the opening range. Oh boy, I may have miscalculated which one is which. Let's take a look at this again. 3 drives outside of the opening range. Number 5 is actually for Friday. So if you're watching this, you heard me say earlier, my bad. I misread it. Let's see. Number 7 is the one that I just drew out on the screen. If the breakout on Tuesday closes 3 levels of rise outside of the opening range, that's the one that I'm saying for Wednesday is not really my favorite. All right. Sounds like 7, though. Jamie, you're 100% correct. My fault. I probably should learn how to read, go back to kindergarten or something like that. It is what it is. Is that number 5 or number 7? Yeah, so this was number 7 that I just drew. That 3 levels of rise outside. Anyways, so let's go and take a look real quick. I have a few pictures. I'm not going to go through all of them because that would take probably a full hour, and that's not what y'all are here for. You're probably here for the watch list. But I think that this is a really great explanation of what I am talking about when I'm talking about this tips and tricks, kind of a cheat sheet guide. On this example here, closing outside of the opening range, frame the day. London or Asia made a lower low. London's made a lower low. Opening range, initial balance for the day, and we continue to break out, pull back, and continue into New York. This was obviously probably news and didn't really give any great follow-on opportunity, but the template remains the same. It's an opening range breakout and probably a range expansion of the weekly range. Coming down over here, opening range breakout. Asia makes a higher high, pulls back in London, and begins that move up. All right, and then you got that kind of an ascending triangle there to go vertical in the New York session. 3 sessions set up, higher high in Asia, pull back in London, opening range, initial balance for the day, and then you've got the breakout that apparently, or as I say apparently, wrong use of words. This is a range expansion, again, of the opening range. They're doing an expansion of the range, a measured move of that range. Opening range breakout on a Tuesday. Asia makes a lower low, pulls back in London. London in the gap time makes a lower low. So this is a failed breakout now. You can see the attempt to go higher outside of the opening range for the day fails, goes back down, makes a lower low, pulls back in New York session for the continuation. Beautiful. Same thing. Look at the date. Look at the pair. Look at the chart. Look at the pattern. Doesn't that look almost exactly the same? Same scenario. Pulls back up. We've got a close on the outside of the opening range. Asia, London. London makes a lower low, pulls back in New York, and then goes vertical down in the New York session. Let's come down. I'm going to find some other examples here of some of the other things that I've talked about. Let's see. Monday's an inside day. Okay, so this one here has closed on the outside of the opening range on a Tuesday. Awesome. Except Asia has came down and made a lower low. Remember I was talking about framing the day. Asia made a lower low. That should not have happened. We get a failed breakout now outside of London. They attempted to go higher in London, pulled back inside of the daily range, opening range for the day, goes into a parabolic channel, and then goes vertical back down. Failed breakout over the course of 2 days, back down for the low of the week. 2 thumbs up. We'll come down here. This is going to be pretty much the exact same scenario we just looked at right here. It's not the same chart flipped over. It's same exact scenario, except we have Tuesday as a breakout. They've closed outside of the opening range, except Asia's made a higher high, created the opening range for the day, has broke out in the gap time coming into London. We get that nice little channel, and it goes vertical back up through the high. So that was a good London trade. Failed breakout over the course of 2 days. 2 thumbs up. Here's another one. Closing on the outside of the opening range. Asia makes a higher high, pulls back in London, and then goes vertical in New York. So if you're trying to plan your session, and if this looks familiar, which, by the way, this slideshow is on some of my weekly range, weekly template videos. So feel free to go grab the slideshow. It's on my videos. It's out there. It exists. It could be a little cheat sheet for you. It's a great little tool. All right. I'm going to get rid of this. Let's get into the slideshow. Not the slideshow. The watch list for today. We're going to start off on the NASDAQ. And we're going to look for some of those templates. I'm going to look for signal days. I'm going to look for weekly templates based off that slideshow that you just saw. And I'm going to look for the 3-day cycle. So on this pair right here, we had a failed breakout at the high of the week from Friday. They attempted to go higher. They closed back down on the inside of that range. Spiked the high, spiked the low, pulled back inside. Day 1, 3-day cycle on Friday. On Monday, they have came down and they have made a peak formation low at the low of the week. They failed, breakout down low, day 1, 3-day cycle. And now we have just been sitting on the inside of the opening range today. Today was not an inside day. They triggered the low right here. But it was day 2, which means that tomorrow... there we go. Tomorrow will be day 3 of the 3-day cycle based off of day 1. Today was day 2, and tomorrow will be day 3. If I can make this a bit smaller. There we go. Do I have a signal day today? It's been a ranging day, so no, I do not. Do I have a day that is closed on the outside of the opening range as a breakout? No, I do not. Do I have a failed breakout? No, I do not. So in the absence of everything, all I can do is put this into 3-day cycle day 3, or maybe pump and dump or something like that. But obviously this is coiling for something. Just, I don't have anything for you at this time. I would need to see tomorrow and get a little bit more information. But I heard you something about negative. There's nothing negative about it. Ain't got time to bleed. About using magic keys if you're still able to trade Forex. I've transitioned over to futures because America, we're not allowed to trade Forex anymore. So, you know, yeehaw. Unless you want to use like Forex.com and you want your spread to be the biggest spread you've ever seen in your life. Or Rwanda. They do the same thing. That's ridiculous. All right, going to US 30. We have a close on the outside of the opening range today on a Tuesday. Fantastic. We also have a lower low back down on the inside of the previous week's range. So they made a higher high. It came down. They've made a lower low, break in structure to the downside. So now I've established a weekly template as well as structure. They made a lower low back down on the inside. Good stuff. There we go. Do I have a signal day today? No, I do not. I don't think this is... I think this is probably the first red day right here, if at all, right? This is a bit of a larger descending triangle that has started to play out. But based off that slideshow that I just showed you all, if I come to the screen tomorrow and Asia makes a higher high, they pull back up into the range, London, New York pulls back, we might be looking at a vertical move back up towards the high. Scenario 1. Scenario 2, Asia forms... We get a lower low, London pulls back, and New York's the trade. That's the template that I would look for based off of what has happened currently right now. This is a very large pump. Up, consolidated, we broke down, lower low on the inside of last week's range. Weekly templates looking good. I have my scenarios. I know exactly what to look for coming into tomorrow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this into opening range with these annotations up on the screen just like they are. I can even mark off my end of day consolidation, which looks probably something about like this. EODC. People always ask me, what is the end of day consolidation? Think of like Friday's range. If I was using Friday's range on a Monday, it's pretty much the exact same thing. It's like the closing range of the day, but you can just look at it and use it as reference, kind of like that. Alrighty then. Want to make sure I haven't missed anything. We had 1 day of breakouts, 2 days. Now we got 1 day of breakouts this week down to the downside. Beautiful. Does anybody have any questions? As I'm going through, if you all do have questions, don't be shy. Please feel free to ask. I'm more than happy. We've got about 59 people in here. If you all could just do me a huge favor real quick, it does really help the stream. Hit the like button. It takes you 2 seconds. The little thumbs up down there. I greatly appreciate it. Let's go on to gold. All right, so gold is another one that has been somewhat ranging, except now we have a breakout at the high of the current week. Man, I really don't like this. Let's fix that. Thank you. There we go. All right. We had a breakout at the high of the week. Remember my weekly template slide, though, that I just showed you. They broke out. Breakout failed. We pulled back down on the inside of the range. What could happen based off of the scenarios that have just presented? Number one, they put in a base at 50%. and they go back up. All right, put in a base at 50, and we go back up. I don't like that scenario as much, but it's something to understand. It's a scenario that could take place, sure. Let's go back to the left a little bit. This was a higher high right here, and so that means my low is way down yonder, which is also pretty much the previous week's low. With this failed breakout now at the high of the week, this is also a peak formation high because this is a M. They broke out, breakout failed. Also, there's a large M at the high of the current week. Day 1, 3-day cycle. Tomorrow is day 2. Let's see here. I think, was this an inside day? Yeah, it was. So Monday was actually an inside day. This is important information that I need to use. So who can tell me? We broke to the upside of an inside bar first and the breakout failed. What information do I need to put up on the screen right now? What information do I need to put up there based off that inside day and the breakout at the high of that inside bar? I think there's a bit of a delay on my stream, so I'm going to wait a couple seconds, and then I'm just going to run with it. And boom, we're going to do this. So I'm not telling you that they will go back to this spot. That is by no means what I am saying. However, whenever they trigger one side of a inside bar, that means that inside bar traders on a higher time frame were just triggered into the market. And where are they putting their stops? They're going to put them down at the other end of that range. So I'm going to annotate that because if I come to the screen tomorrow and they've consolidated in sort of a session 1, session 2, session 3, Asia makes a lower low, London pulls back, and then New York gives me a trade back down through those people's stops, I will take that trade. That is a setup that I currently look for. Fantastic. Based off the failed breakout at the high of the week, this could even maybe be considered a first red day. We have not triggered a previous week's high, which is cause for concern, but that's okay. If this is a first red day, this is where that pump began. So I'm going to throw that down there. Close back down below the open. They attempted to trade higher first. I'm going to label it. I'm going with it. If I frame my day tomorrow and it proves me wrong, so be it. All right. This is a day that is pumped. Attempted to trade above the previous or the current high of week. They did not trigger the previous week's high, which is a little bit cause for concern, but that's okay. And then has closed back down below the opening price for the day. Which means that by textbook definition, this is actually a first red day. So I'm going to throw that up there. I'm even going to put this in red. For some reason, I've put it in orange. There we go. Now, do I have a lower low? No, I do not. That part makes me a little sad. All right, I'm putting this up into first red day. Now, how would I know that this was not a first red day? Well, if Asia London starts making higher highs, the breakout level is pretty far away. You know, this could start to pump back up tomorrow. I don't really want to see that. I would much rather just see them stay in this consolidation. Kind of got people trapped above closing price or opening price for the day. I would really much rather just see them capitulate tomorrow. Oh, no. Capitulate tomorrow and complete this pattern. Go. Beautifully executed. Let's see here. Let's go to oil. See if we have any good templates. Okay, so this is nice. Monday, we had a day 1, 3-day cycle. They broke out of not only the previous day's low, but they also broke out of the previous week's low. So this is not going to be an inside week. That's good news. Day 1, 3-day cycle. Today was day 2 of the 3-day cycle, which means that tomorrow will be day 3 of the 3-day cycle. What kind of weekly template do we have? They have closed confidently on the outside of the opening range. So tomorrow, they're either going to fail and come back down into that range, or this is a breakout, a pullback, and maybe, just maybe, going back for the previous week's high. Do I have a signal day? Things are kind of ranging. We're not really expanding in one direction or the other. So this is like one day of breakouts, but it's still kind of internal to last week's breakouts. So kind of a range. No first red, no first green. Monday was a very textbook first green day. Today was a great first green day trade. Opening range for the day, failed breakout, initial balance, back up into the opening range, went vertical in New York. Beautiful. I think this is probably a range expansion of the entire day. If I do something like this, or maybe even like this, looks good. Oh, previous week's day, and no one even corrected me. That hurts. There we go. Okay, so this high here, they went down, they went up. So they spiked both sides. They made a lower low. All right, I'm good with this. I'm going to put this into day 3, 3-day cycle. The levels are very clear. The close on the outside of the opening range is good. My previous week's high is there. 2 thumbs up. And then I'm going to frame my day coming into tomorrow's New York session, and I will have all the information that I could possibly need. Let's go to USCAD. All right, Tuesday, today, day 1, 3-day cycle. And we have closed, I can't even tell if that's just below or just above the opening range for the week. They spiked the low of the day, spiked the low of yesterday. Day 1, 3-day cycle. Tomorrow is going to be day 2. Of course, I put day 3. Typical me, fat finger and everything. There we go. Closing on the outside of the opening range. So will the breakout fail tomorrow? Asia makes a lower low. London starts to pull back. New York goes vertical back down. Maybe. Does Asia make a higher high? London starts to pull back. New York is the trade to go long. Don't know. We'll see tomorrow after I frame the day. Have we hit previous week's high? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This is the previous week's high from last week. All right. So with that, I understand both sides of the story. This is either going to be an opening range breakout, or the opening range breakout is going to fail tomorrow, and I can look for both scenarios. I won't know. I can't predict. All I can do is react to what the day looks like once I come to the New York session. I'm going to put this up in opening range because that is currently looking okay. Let's see. It looks like a bit of the consolidation. All right, clean. Let's go to pound. Ooh, okay. Wow. If I've never seen this before, it's at least been a very long time since I have. Who sees it? Why did I go ooh? Why did I make that weird noise that I probably shouldn't have made? Who could see what I'm staring at here? I'm going to start typing. Yep, I am correct. Wow. All right, so Thursday, we had a huge spike up and a huge spike down. So that is still, we are still trading in between 2 peak formations as of right now. And I've seen plenty of double inside days, but I don't know if I've ever seen a triple inside day. I can't remember the last time if I have. So this was an inside day on Friday. They did not hit previous day's high or previous day's low. Monday, opening range for the week. They have not hit previous day's high or previous day's low. And then now, today on Tuesday, they have not hit previous day's high or previous day's low. What does that mean? Obviously, they are coiling for something, maybe some large move. What do we got tomorrow on news? That could be it. That could definitely be it. That's the 29th. Today's 27th. So this is the news for tomorrow. GDP growth rate, 830. Maybe this coil is going to play out. Maybe this is all built up for that news event. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to do anything else because I don't need to. Opening range high and low, those are my levels. It's a triple inside day. These are my peak formations. If it goes vertical and the breakout fails, where are they going? Back down to the low of the peak formation. And they could do it very quickly. I don't know. If it breaks out and pulls back and starts to trend, could this be a parabolic channel to go vertical and do a range expansion? I don't know which way it's going to expand, but it will expand somewhere. So I'm going to frame my day tomorrow just like I always would. Opening range, initial balance. And I'm going to look and see which scenario is most likely. Pumps for dumps, dumps for pumps. And we will see. Okay, that's what I'm going with. And you better believe I'm going to put this in inside day, and I'm going to highlight it because I definitely need to be watching that. Triple inside day is wild. We'll see. Let's go, EURUSD. So a fairly similar pattern, just minus the triple inside day. Peak formation high, peak formation low. We're still trading on the inside of that. Got a bit of a consolidation. They've dumped it back down. They consolidated. And now we've made a large W for that move back up. Opening range on Monday. Initial balance today on Tuesday. They attempted to go higher. Did they break with a 15-minute chart? Okay. Did we close back down on the inside of yesterday's high? Yes, we did. Did we close as a first red day? Ooh. Okay, so by definition, we have not broke... I'm going to say this first. We have not broke a previous week's high. That might be cause for concern when I say this. However, what we do have is a large pumping day on Monday. A day on a Tuesday specifically that has attempted to go higher. Breakout has failed. They attempted to go higher first and closed below the open for the day. So what levels do I need to be watching? I need to be watching this one. And I can just drag that across. Because if this breakout actually does not fail, they pull back up on the inside and maybe go vertical. Hey, I'm wrong. And this is not actually a first red day. So be it. On the flip side, maybe this is actually a first red day. So let's take a look at structure. Now, this is kind of internal to this peak formation high and low, but that's okay. Higher high, this was my low. They made a lower low. Back down on the inside of the previous week's range. All right, so that's good. We've got a lower low and a first red day, a large pumping day, a day that attempted to trade higher first at the high of the current week and close back down underneath the opening price or the closing price for the day. All right, there's my end of day consolidation. I'm going to jump back up to the 1 hour. Oh, no lower low on the 1 hour, though. They continue to break out and pull back. That first red day might be wrong. We might have this might actually turn into an expansion back up through the high. So I'm aware of both scenarios, right? This consolidation, we might get that vertical move to fill this space. On the flip side, this could actually very well be a first red day. Pump it up, hold it up in consolidation for about 2 days. And then tomorrow opens up. Asia makes a lower low. London maybe pulls back, or gap time makes a lower low, something like that. Pulls back for New York. And then we get that vertical move down. We also have that failed breakout at the high of the current week. Referring back to the weekly template slide that we went over at the beginning of the stream. If Michael's in here, I'm sure he is loving this extended analysis here on Euro US dollar. All right, let's take a look at EURJPY. Now, this is one that has triggered the high of the previous week. This is Thursday's high. They triggered it. Beautiful. So I'm going to make sure I get that annotated. Could go money's low. Yep, sure thing. Previous week's high. And of course, I've still spelled things wrong. There we go. Previous week's high, they've made a higher high. So when they did that, my low is down here, which is also the low of the current week. All right. Tuesday has pulled back. Inside day. Higher high. Pull back. Inside day. This might be something to watch. They made a bit of a W. Peak formation at the low of the current week. Kind of. Based off that inside day. I'm going to mark off my end of day consolidation, which is going to look something like this. Where are we at? Are we up high? How far up are we? Oh. All right. Not to say that it can't keep going, because it definitely, certainly could. See, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So that was the high of that week. Monday. Okay, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay, so this was the first week that we had breakouts back up to the upside. So that was week 1 up. And then we've got week 2 up. Tuesday, Friday. Week 1. Now we got 2 weeks of breakouts, Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday. Okay, so we're into the third week of breakouts now. And we're coming into a new month. All right. All right, this is beautiful. I really like this. They've built a very nice box. Pump, higher high, trigger previous week's high, third week of breakouts now in the market, inside day, dump, pump. But if they trigger the high of this previous inside bar, the stops are going to be down at the low. I think this is one that I probably would like to watch if I even have this on futures. I hope I do. Can you all see where I'm going with this? First red day, third class. That's actually smart. I should start using a class system based off criteria. You know, based off of the preferences. I should make a class system, Winston. That's actually incredibly smart. I'm jealous that I didn't think of it myself. I'll give you credit, though. All right. All right. So higher high, dump, consolidation. We trigger the high of an inside bar. I'm wondering if we're not going to get a trigger the high of the current week inside our initial balance. I'm wondering if this is going to hold or not. If this inside bar starts to break out and trend, range expansion. If it breaks out and it fails, looking at the other side of the range, or even maybe range expansion to the other side. We'll see. What would you look for on EJ tomorrow? Exactly what I just said, OB. They trigger one side of that inside bar. We're at the high of the week. My belief is that there are stops down at the low, unless that it proves to me that there is a range expansion opportunity of the weekly range, in which case I would like to see that. Either one. Just need to see how the day is framed tomorrow when I come into it, and I'll be able to make decisions a bit better. But we do have 3 weeks of breakouts, which mean we are up a bit high, so I'm going to be mighty careful. We're also coming into the end of a month, so maybe things are starting to shift around. We might go into consolidation. We'll see. Oh, I've already done this one. US dollar, Japanese yen. I think it was Ain't Got Time to Bleed. I think you asked me about this pair. So let's take a look at it. A very wide range, opening range, and a breakout that has failed at the low of the week. Monday spiked the high of Friday, peak formation high. It came down on Tuesday and made a lower low. Not to say that this is going back down, but it is information that you better believe I'm going to be putting up there on the screen. Breaking structure down to the downside. Peak formation high, peak formation low. Opening range, day one, 3-day cycle today. Failed breakout at the low of the week. They pulled back up into the range. I'm going to get my end of day consolidation up there. This was not a first green day. I don't have 3 days of breakouts. So this is all of the information that I could possibly use based off of that slide that I showed you earlier. The tips and tricks. As well as I've got the 3-day cycle. I've also got, just the weekly range in general to be watching. Are we up high on this? Where's the previous week's high? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This is Friday's high. So, yeah, we triggered the high the previous week on this. All right. I don't want to miss anything. Any little details that I might overlook. What is this? Is it the high of the current month? Or the previous? Nope, this is the high of the current month. Okay. All right. That lower low might actually not be a lower low because this higher high from all the way back over here, this is all just consolidation on the inside of this range. In fact, I'm going to remove that. I don't want to give myself the wrong idea. All right, I'm putting this into squeeze or even opening range. It really doesn't matter which one. Let's take a look at the U.S. Oh. Okay. U.S. Swiss. Very large pumping day. They spiked up. They spiked down. We're trading kind of in the between of these peaks. I think this is one of the ones today that I just, ignored. And I'm probably going to do the same tomorrow. Did we close on the outside of the opening range? We did. Oh, okay. That gives me at least a little something. Monday's range, we've closed lower. I'm not going to try and guess anything else. I'm just going to leave it just like this. This is, actually, I need to remove a little bit. I'm going to put this descending triangle up there. I am going to put my close up there. And I'm going to throw this into opening range. Why? Why would I do that? Why don't I want to sit here and search for more? Well, it's an opening range breakout, and it's either going to do two things tomorrow. Those are my only two options. It's either going to fail, pull back inside, and go vertical. This all turns into order flow for the move back up. Or Asia's going to make a lower low. London's going to pull back, go into consolidation. New York's going to open up and go vertical. That's literally the only two things I'm going to look for. So I'm not going to sit here and try and finesse a bunch of other stuff. I don't see anything else that is super relevant to me right now. That was day 1. This is day 2 and 3. Day 1, day 2. So tomorrow's day 3 of the 3-day cycle. If this does turn into a large pump for a large dump back down, that's all the space we've got. That's where that pump began. Push 1, 2, and 3. It's actually quite interesting. It was gross at first, but now I am intrigued. All right, one of you asked me about pound yen. Opening range, initial balance. Opening range for the week, fairly wide. Today was an inside day. They did not trigger previous day's high or previous day's low. So the only two things I can look for tomorrow: trade from the inside back to the outside. Trade from the outside, failed breakout, back down to the other side. Or breakout pullback for a range expansion of the inside day, whichever direction. I know I keep doing long examples, but I'm literally just, for example, right? It could go either way. Let's see. There was a high. They went higher. Then they went higher again. And so that's my low and that's my high. So basically the high and low of the opening range is my high and low. Spike the low, spike the high, pull back side, inside day. All right, I think this is all I got. Inside day. All right, we've got about 69 people in here. So I'm going to give you all a bit of a shameless plug real quick. I have discounted my weekly webinar, which I'm teaching this week. All of March, if you would like to attend, I took $50 off. It's there if you want it. If not, keep watching my YouTube videos. All the information's there. Keep watching Stacey's videos. That's all the information you really need. But if you want a little extra, you want a little extra guidance, it is there for you if you need it. All right. Shameless plug. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns as of right now? Based off of what we're looking at. Ficos, what do you mean? Talking about the discount? I've been told that 200 is way too cheap and I should raise the price, and I disagree. I think it's worth every penny. That's a bit of a biased opinion. But I understand that not everybody can afford to pay 200. So March Madness, give a little discount. If you all want to attend, awesome. If not, keep watching the videos. I'll keep doing my very best to explain everything I can on those videos. Does anybody have any questions? Anything that you would like me to explain? It doesn't even have to be related to the watch list. It could be about anything. I've started, I think I said this earlier in the stream, but I have started trading futures. The U.S. has basically put a ban on Forex because of the leverage. I thought it was going to be kind of a painful transition, but it's actually been extremely seamless. The only thing that I'm still struggling with, I'll put in quotes struggling, it's really not that bad, is the contracts, because I can't close partial contracts. So my trade management is going to have to change a little bit. I'm going to have to figure out a good system for it. So I'm trading very small right now. Trading very small. All right. Trade of 8. And I'm trading directly on I'm trading directly on TradingView now, which is a little bit different, but it's nice. Ficos, I am not. Boy, I've got my own opinions, but I am not going to share them here on this platform because that, I'm sure, will cause a stir. John, I'm on Trade of 8 right now, and I'm looking to do Top Step. By the end of this year, I really would like to get as many funded accounts as I can. I think that would be a good goal to set for myself. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I really do appreciate all of you tuning in. If you haven't already, if you've enjoyed this content, please hit that like button. If you've tuned in a bit late, go back to the beginning. Look at that slideshow that I presented. It'll really help you to understand the different scenarios that can present. Use those as like your signals leading to a setup. The signal is not a guarantee, but it can give you an idea or help you to frame what you are looking for on the following day. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been fantastic. Thank you all so much for tuning in and for your participation. It makes me teaching a lot more fun when you all actually participate and give feedback and ask me questions and things like that. So I do greatly appreciate it. You all enjoy the rest of your day. I'm teaching a webinar this week. So on Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern time, I will do another one of these live streams. Next week, I will be doing the live streams on Wednesday at 7 a.m. and on Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern time as well. You all have a good one. Bye-bye.